Good evening, viewers. Welcome to the second episode of Online Teacher Journeys. Usually, you will see our CEO, Mr. Jaydev, take us through the session, but today he's caught up with another commitment. So, today, myself, George, will be your host, and I have Ashin, my colleague, who will be assisting us through the session. Today's guest is Miss Harini Rayadurgam. Hello, ma'am. Thank you so much for taking the time out to be a part of the session. We are super excited to learn from you, to understand what and how you made the successful transition from an offline setting to an online setting.
Thank you.
Uh,
Thank you for your welcome.
okay. So, ma'am, before we get started, if you could just give a brief intro, a brief about what you do, where you're from, what are your educational background, and how you are transitioned to where you are today. So, brief intro before we get going.
Okay. I am Harini. My partner Bindu and I have co-founded an organization called Poornapragya. Poornapragya means infinite possibilities when you know your inherent potential. So Purna Pragya is Purna means complete or infinite. Pragya means intelligences. So when you know your complete intelligences, you have infinite possibilities in your life. So Purna Pragya means you discover yourself, you discover all your intelligences, you discover your infinite capabilities, your complete skill set, your personality, your strength, your aptitudes, your interest, your passions, your motivation. So imagine if you have understood yourself completely, wouldn't you be able to traverse through life much more easily? So we do education, behavior counseling, career counseling. We conduct courses on how to study because we try to identify what motivates the child. We try to identify what is the study style of that child. And that is how we teach the syllabus from a very creative and fun point of view. And we also conduct workshops on time management, smart study skills. So they're especially useful for those writing board exams this year. So this is what we do at Purna Pragya. I belong to Andhra Pradesh, but I have grown up all over the country. So
Okay.
3 to 4 years in each state capital of the country. So including Delhi. So all through my schooling, I have gone through many languages, many environments, many cultures. So it's very multicultural upbringing that I had. And again, I did my engineering at NIT, which is again very very multicultural. All the
Yeah.
students come from all over the country. So I worked after my engineering. I worked for 12 plus years as a software professional. Again, in many cities: Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai. I worked in London. I worked in Europe, Singapore, and this has given me a very good experience of the corporate life.
Right.
Also, once I got back to India and settled down, I worked in startups, and I helped a lot of startups also. So that gave me a very good idea on freelance world, the startup world, the corporate world, and how people adjust and from various backgrounds, how they come and what are the strengths they have, and how their strengths are useful in that particular situation. So this is what I have been doing over the past that was 12 years back. Now in the last 12 years, I have completely changed my career. You can say I've been
Right.
working with students. So I started off teaching shlokas. I used to teach bhajans. I used to tell stories from the Indian scriptures, convert it to life skills, and match it to some games. So I used to gamify the Indian scriptures and I used to teach children. And that interaction has brought me so much understanding of the students, the way the students think, the way the parents think, and where they are actually struggling. And that is why the Purna Pragya is the result of all these experience we have had with our students over the past 12 years.
Understood. Thank you so much for that intro, ma'am. We have a bunch of questions that we want to ask you about the whole transition, how you got students onboarded, how you were successfully able to shift from an offline environment to an online environment, and so on. But so thank you. Harni ma'am, let's get right into it.
Yeah.
Like why people are here to just hear about how you've made this shift happen.
Yeah.
So let's take a deep dive right into it now. The common question that we have is how did you decide for this shift to happen? What was the reason that you had for this shift from an
Uh,
offline set, from a corporate environment to a teaching environment to begin with, and then from
uh,
the environment to an online setup?
Okay,
Yeah.
so you have two questions there.
Yeah.
So the first thing is, how did I make the transition to a teacher? So
Yeah.
my qualification has been of that of an engineer, but my soul has always been that of a teacher. So even through school and office, students and juniors used to gravitate to me for advice and guidance on academic topics, on the work environment, on career. So I was always, posted as the mentor there everywhere. So as I mentioned, I started interacting with students once I left my corporate job. I started interacting with students and gamified a lot of our Indian scriptures. And when I got into interaction with the students and parents, I realized that many people are very scared of maths. They fear maths, or they don't know that they can easily get it's so easy to become an expert at maths. So, and it's so important to a career. Any career, you take archaeology, you take sociology, it's not only to STEM. It's not only for science, technology, engineering. So you need maths for everything. Maths is the foundation. And if you start hating maths, you start hating academics. And what are you going to do about your career? So what I started doing was, because I used to create fun stuff with maths. So I used to solve a murder mystery with board mass, or do a treasure hunt with squares and cubes, or design a dinosaur park with area and perimeter. We would have so many games. We would design factory show car showroom and play profit and loss games. So the kids used to love it. The parents would be happy that they're learning concepts, and in between the breaks, I used to teach them a lot of tricks for fast calculations. And when these same kids grew up, they started finding that these tricks for fast calculations is very useful. So I started teaching them more tricks. And so over the past 7 or 8 years, it has grown so big that now I have two programs. Mathematic Merriment is for third to sixth standard, which is just games and fun. And only 2 hours out of 10 hours is for calculations. Whereas Mathability Express is for 7 to 10 standard, which is more of fast calculation, and some 2 hours of magic and tricks. So
Okay.
that's how I got into teaching STEM. So during the school year, I used to teach normal syllabus to 11th standard, 12th standard, integration, differentiation, all those calculus concepts. And I would always start off not with the formula, but I always start off with a story on how a train is going through a tunnel or something. So that is what I used to teach for the normal students also during the school year. During holidays, we would have this fun stuff. So now Poornapragya, from through Poornapragya, we offer academic courses like Memory Magic, Mathemagic Merriment, Memory Agility, Mathability Express, and we also offer value education and life skills from our scriptures. We offer teen skills like time management, avoiding procrastination, study skills. For parents, we offer, online gadget safety. That's very, very important topic right now, because all the children are online most of the time now. And then
Yeah.
future ready students, are you ready for the future? The technology is changing rapidly. The world is changing so rapidly. Are your children, is your teen prepared for it? Is your teenage child prepared for it? So these are the kind of workshops we conduct. So the yeah. So the next question you asked was, how did I shift from offline to online classes,
Yeah.
right? So George, 6th of March. Yeah, 6th of March, we had spoken to 10 different centers. We had made videos, we had made advertisements for all our programs. And
Okay.
that was when the schools started closing. And we did not think, lockdown will happen. We did not
Yeah.
think about that far, but we definitely thought that, corona hai to we should not allow the children to travel to these classes.
Yeah.
So that was our main thing. We did not think lockdown and all. So we said, okay, what do I do? So I'm from a technical background. So I immediately explored some options. So immediately I thought, okay, I had already conducted some classes on Zoom because, online, I know Jaydev because I conduct classes for the US students for maths.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so I had already done a few classes on Zoom. Although most of before this Corona, I think we used to do everything on Skype or Google Hangout. But Zoom came about, and then so I set up an online store and payment on Instamojo. I started advertising. We changed the venue of all our ads to online. By
Oh,
12th of March, we did our first set of free demos on Zoom. Almost
okay.
100 people attended it.
Oh,
Because
great.
because 12th of March, it was very early. Nobody had thought about online classes and all that. People
Yeah.
were the schools were closing down. People didn't know what to do. So by 18 March, we had already started our first batches with 20 students and all. That is two different classes: memory magic and math magic. So 20 students, 10 each. So this was also because our classes were already a hit for the past 6 years.
Okay.
So that is where we shifted to this thing. And within a few days, within couple of days after we started the classes, the first thing was I paid for the Zoom account first month. Then
Okay.
Jaydev called up. He is in
Mm,
one of my groups. So he called up. He said, we have this Bloom class and it will take care of the batch management.
yeah.
Otherwise, you take Google Documents. I would maintain Excel sheets. Payment coming from Instamojo. It's coming from Paytm. It's coming from Google Pay. Communication with the parents, sending the worksheets.
Yeah.
Um, checking who paid for which batch, what is the timing they prefer, because we were having these different batches at different timings. So all that was taken care of by Bloom class. So till
Great.
now we have conducted almost 20 batches,
Great. Great.
and all because Bloom class automatically sends all those emails. It automatically sends those reminders. So I mean, it made things easy for us. The payment by the very next, I mean, within a week, it used to get transferred to the bank. So I had no problems, checking who has paid what and all that.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the shout out, ma'am. Uh, one popular question that we get a lot from the teachers is that now once you've made a successful transition to the online environment,
Mhm.
how do you price your courses? Because it's hard to gauge. I mean, you cannot really price it as per how it was in your offline environment. So
Hmm.
the question I guess I have is how do you decide the pricing? Because I think
Uh-huh.
challenge the teachers
S-
they have while making
s-
the transition. If you
Yeah,
could,
this is a very, very important question.
yeah,
And usually, what happens is in any class, especially younger kids, 10 to 12-year-olds, they need to be seen by the teacher. So the class sizes cannot go beyond 10, 15 max. With offline classes, it can go up to 20, 25. We can easily handle them, even the third to sixth standard. But, we now, when we are online, we only allow 8 to 9 maximum for the younger kids, that is third to sixth standard, the mathematic merriment and memory magic classes. For
okay,
7 to 10 standard students, it's okay. They know that they have to ask a doubt, or they would stay back and ask the doubt. So it's okay to have 10, 12, 12, even 15 is okay. We have done a few, one class, actually one session, we had more than 100 students. But and with parents, we do even 20 participants. So our pricing is usually the same as the offline pricing, but here the batch sizes are smaller.
okay,
And you just have to accept that. and you have to probably conduct more batches if you want. But the thing is, if it goes beyond a certain limit, for especially for the younger children,
Right.
they don't. It's not very easy for them. Yeah, so pricing, you can keep it normally, I mean, as it is offline, but I mean, number of students decrease.
Right.
So
So
that's the thing.
how you do it is you probably have more number of batches.
Yes, because there are always people who are interested in our classes. So we
No.
always have a lot of waiting list there. And
No.
yeah, we conduct more batches.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that answer, ma'am. Another popular question that we had was, how do you, I mean, teachers are teachers. I mean, how do you market your courses? I mean, once you get online, biggest challenge teachers have is how do you reach out to more students? Now, students are online, but to get their eyeballs onto your course, now that is a challenge
Mhm.
the teacher has. So how do you navigate through that? That's my
Again, the thing is, what you cannot offer. See, there is a, I mean, take up any startup, take up anything that goes online. You know, most of the failures in startups happen because what you're not doing, uh, I mean, not what you're doing online, but what you're doing offline. The offline completion is what matters. So,
Mm,
if you do your classes well, if you
mm,
have your reputation from before, right?
yeah,
So, basically, what happened is I already have a community of students and parents. So,
mhm,
if anytime, I mean, it's a truth that anytime I go out on the street, people stop me, talk to me about their children, and I stand there and listen to them, answer their questions, anything about studies, about books, about exams. I whenever I come across any website or contest, I share with people whom I know. And so some people ask me, okay, if this school is good, or that tutorial is good, or this book is good. Some people call me up before they start their 10th standard, like, okay, I'm coming to you, let me sit down for 2 hours and talk about what are the things I need to do for my child to get into 10th standard. So usually that's the way I have been for the past 10, 12, 15 years. So people know me, and
okay,
once they know that this person is knowledgeable, this person gives answers when asked for, without expecting anything in return. So
understood.
when we have that credibility, when we have that reputation, and when we have the punctuality and discipline, automatically people know about us. So whatever we put up, so it's very common for us to encounter questions on Facebook, on discussion forums, on WhatsApp, where people ask us these questions. So we have just used the same platforms to talk about our programs.
Understood. And that
So
has
we
been
just send our ads on the Facebook, on discussion forums, on WhatsApp, tell them physically, call them up. I know that, okay, this guy is going to ninth standard, so he would really benefit from Mathability Express. So I call them up. So we have just used these platforms to talk about our programs. We share on Facebook, other digital programs. We tell our past students to share it with their own friends. Many of our students, because our classes are like just 20-hour programs, so once the 20 hours is over, their parents themselves call up and ask us, send us something that we can send to the other students or
right.
other parents. So that word of mouth happens. And for some of our courses, we conduct a free demo. And then once they say, okay, we are interested in it, we just send the link from Bloomclass,
Uh,
and the registration happens, everything seamless.
okay. Okay. If you could just tell us a little about the demo.
Uh-huh.
What do you mean demo? As in, what kind of you conduct a demo class for free
Huh.
for your marketing purpose, and that.
Yes. So what we usually do is we put up these notices on everywhere, on all these digital platforms, and
Okay.
people connect on the demo. So when they
Oh,
connect on the demo, what happens is we don't teach what is there in the class that we are teaching. We talk
Okay.
about the class, but we interact with the students. See, one of the things that I feel is problematic right now is that people think that we cannot, teach online. So
Right.
we need to really be open. We need to really be, out there talking to the kids and interacting with the kids and making them laugh and making them, interact with you back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what we do in the demo is make the students and the parents comfortable that we are able to handle their kids
Yeah.
by doing some, because our programs are magic with maths. So
Mm,
we do a few tricks and we say, okay, this is magic. And then they say, no, no, it's not magic. So then I say, okay, it's logic. So then, yeah, they're like, yeah, yeah, it's logic. So let's come and learn. So that's how. So many kids get attracted to that. And, many parents also able to see that the internet connection is working well, and the kids are sitting there and getting involved and engaged in our programs because our programs are fun and entertaining,
mm.
and they're learning something from it.
Ma'am, these are very valuable inputs. I think a lot of viewers would appreciate this uh, suggestions from your end. Just one question I had on top of that as a follow up.
Mhm.
Do you have any set of prerequisites before you start a class? Like, how do you plan a class? Before you get
Okay.
on start a class,
Hmm.
do you have certain checklist? Do you have to?
Yes.
Yeah, could you just take? I'm sure a lot of viewers, a lot of teachers who are now getting online would
Uh-huh.
want to know how to approach an online class. So,
See, one of the most important thing is you need to be, as I said, very open with the children, and you
yeah,
need to be very sure of. Say, if I'm teaching from 1 to 10, I know 1 to 1,000, because
right,
any
right,
question comes up, I should be able to answer the questions.
yeah,
So that's one thing. Be very, very, I mean, most of the teachers are, very, very expert in their program, in their particular subject. That's why they are there teaching.
yeah,
That's one thing. The second thing is, keeping up the time. So I always connect 15 minutes before the class, so that, and I'm like, I have these worksheets sent to them before date. The
right,
previous day itself, the worksheets are sent, so that if they have any questions, they can be answered and dealt with then and there. And actually the first session happened before the lockdown, so people were able to take the printouts. But
right,
after that, subsequent batches, the children were not able to take printouts. So the lot of people who asked me questions. Then another thing is, with the worksheet that I send, okay, it has a space. See, when we are not physically there, to feel connected with something, they need something physical in the screen.
right,
Okay, so what I do is I have a worksheet with space there to write down, the answers or notes or whatever formula of the trick that I'm teaching, whatever I'm doing. So that's there in that PDF document. And the same thing I'm also showing them. And I'm using this pen to, write on the screen, so that they know that is where they are supposed to write.
okay, okay,
So that visual aspect to learning, because see, in a school or a physical setup, the visual part is very easy. We are there, right? We are
yeah,
able to connect. But
yeah,
online, there's a huge gap between the,
yeah,
especially the younger kids. So they're like very confused. Where am I supposed to write, or what am I supposed to write? So a lot of visual aspect is required
yeah,
to, and also I tell a lot of stories in between the class, related to the concept or related to the technique I'm teaching. So that stories, or making them laugh, or inserting something in between about their Dark Lord or Harry Potter, or whatever is the age
right,
group, depending on the age group. Yeah, you have to talk to them in their language. So that
right,
helps, the stories and the stories related to it, that helps them retain more information. That's one
right.
thing. Then the other thing is, I start off the class with a test. So I keep a
Oh,
test before, and after the class, I repeat the same test with different numbers and different questions. but similar
Okay.
kind of test. And then I'm able to then transfer this information. Like for example, there's one game in our in my mathemagic where the kids do 700 sums. You won't believe it, George. 700
Oh,
sums in half an hour. Okay, this
wow.
is third, second standard to seventh standard, sixth standard kids. They do
Great.
it. So once they are playing and they're like, I want to do one more and one more because they're saving the princess. So
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so what happens is they do 700 sums. So this immediately after the class I send a message to the parents, give your children a big hug, they have done 700 sums today. And the answers I get back is very nice. One of the students, second standard students, mom said that this girl is roaming around with a halo on her head, so because she's done 700 sums in 30 minutes. So
Right.
yeah, so you have to keep it interactive, you have to keep it fun, and you have to make it more interactive with the parents. Immediate feedback to the kids, that is important.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Again, a lot of valuable points for the viewers. I'm sure there's a lot to take in, but very valuable, in fact. Um, I just want to, so before we wrap up, I have one question. Uh, this is sort of like, what's the biggest challenge you've had to overcome in this whole transition environment? I mean, when you started, first you moved to
Yeah.
from a job to a teaching job. From
Yeah.
a offline teaching, you then went into an offline online setup.
Yeah.
Among in this journey, what was the biggest challenge that you had to overcome?
The biggest challenge is usually again the marketing. We would like
Hmm.
more and more people to benefit from our courses and workshops. So we need to keep creating awareness about it. So, I mean, when we are doing this, so, I mean, as a teacher, I want to develop wonderful content. But at the
Yes,
same time, I have to do marketing. And,
correct.
I have to keep interacting with the children and the parents, because that is the interaction gives a lot of feedback to us also. And the students also get a lot of information, so that
Right.
interaction has to happen. So I mean, that is one of the challenges. Keep the dialogue flowing. Yeah, see, some of the students who complete our courses, they come back to us and tell us that, they have learned something from us and they are using it. Even students who have started liking maths because they attended in sixth standard, they have continued taken maths in 11th standard, 12th standard, and they come back and tell us. So that is a wonderful feedback that we get. But the thing is, not all parents are able to keep in touch. So I think a Bloomclass has the capability to, provide that platform, keep the dialogue flowing through that questionnaire, through our videos, through feedback from the parents, from the students. I think that would help us a lot if Bloomclass could, provide and be a platform for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. One last question before we wrap up. Do
Yeah.
you have any tips that you want to share the new teachers who are now stepping into the environment? Any tips that you from your learning that they should inculcate when they step into the whole online environment of teaching from your
Yeah.
learning? Yeah,
One thing is that we need to keep things flexible.
yeah,
So, for instance, the last 2 months, all our classes has been like, because 10-hour programs. So Monday to Friday, 2 hours every day, we complete a program. Now the
right,
schools have gone online, especially students in ninth standard, 10th standard. They are, studying the whole day. So they can't give us 2 hours. So we need to we converted that to once a week to our classes.
yeah.
Okay, so be flexible about that. Say for international students, make it because now we also approach international students. We are getting information, and honestly, there's no difference because Bloom class accepts international payments also. And the second thing is online. No, so it's okay, international or national. It's just we change our batch timings. That's all. So
Mm,
the other thing is. they have a different kind of timetable, they have a different kind of lifestyle. So make the classes, instead of 2 hours every day, it will be better if they make it 1.5 hours. Or so your courses have to be modular enough, flexible enough to have those changes done easily. That is one of the things. The second thing is, keep talking with people,
Yeah.
keep talking with a lot of people, get online. I don't know if people are many teachers should go online, see what the parents are talking on Facebook about. See, when you go to Facebook, look at parents groups, see what problem the people are having, and then what is the problem that makes you excited and eager to solve.
Mm.
Yeah, that is what you should focus on.
Right.
So, what is the problem that you want to solve? So, read the problems, read what the parents are facing, give them information, keep talking to them, give them more information. And then, when you see that, that problem is getting solved by the way you're talking, make it
Mm.
a course.
Right. Okay. Ma'am, thank you so much. I mean, this session, I'm sure. Thank you first of all for taking out the time to do this. I'm sure us
Okay, you're welcome.
and the viewers have learned something new for sure about taking online classes. It was a very useful session. Like I said, we've all learned something new here today, and I'm definitely
Yeah,
sure.
this COVID situation has given us a lot of changes, and
Yeah.
I think we've all benefited by learning a lot of new things, and
Yes.
new way of doing things. So
Yep. Yep.
parents and students. So I think one of the important things that everyone should think about and talk about is children being exposed to a lot of digital gadgets, and how important it is to know how to guide them to be safe with the gadgets. So that's a very important thing that people need to start discussing and talking. But
Yeah.
otherwise, these times have been very interesting.
Thank you once again, ma'am. Like I
Thank
said, it
you.
was absolutely a good session, and we've all benefited from this. Thank you. Thank you for talking to us. That's it. That's it from my end. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.